All right, welcome back to second half of the semester, weather and climate chat with Monsoon Mike and Dr. Michael Davis. Dr. Davis, how was your spring break?
Snowy. I had to dig myself out.
That was a pretty fun spring break, at least for our perspective. I'm sure there were some people that were not too thrilled with the timing of that. Kind of ironic because in the past we've had some very warm spring breaks, and this spring break was the total opposite of that.
Yeah, we had the snow that came Tuesday, and then it was pretty much cold the rest of the week because of all the cold air coming down from the north, plus the cold snowpack that was sitting on the ground.
So we had pretty much an all-out, genuine snowstorm last Tuesday. I know there were some blizzard warnings that were put up last minute on Monday, but I don't think we really quite made blizzard criteria.
No, at least not by me. We reached blizzard criteria.
Yeah, neither by me as well. A couple things that the storm was a tricky one to track, as they all seem to be. But this one, took a little bit of a more coastal route last minute, which caused some sleet to mix in and kind of mess up our accumulations a little bit.
Yeah, well, I was out there shoveling with my neighbors. I mentioned the low must be really close to the shore because we're getting this mixing of sleet in with the snow.
Yeah.
If it was further out to sea, we'd be getting much more in the way of snow.
Yeah, So your total in the Allentown area was what, Dr.
11
Davis?
and a half.
Okay, and me up in southern Schuylkill County, a little colder, other side of the mountain, 16 inches. I didn't have that much sleet. I had some sleet mixing in, but we
got plenty of sleet.
You had plenty of sleet.
And that was the Weather Service Monday, I believe it was, said if you're between Reading and the Lehigh Valley up toward Somerville, New Jersey, you should bunker down from 2 a.m. to 2 p.m. because it's going to get pretty bad because that's where they seem the main axis of snow.
Right.
But as the storm moved further westward, that pushed the whole line west, and that's where I think closer toward Harrisburg got a lot of snow as well.
Harrisburg, I don't know their exact total, but I believe they were in the range of 23 inches, somewhere around there. So they had practically all snow.
Yeah, so if we had the low pretty much go another 25, 50 miles east, we would have been slammed by that 20-some-odd inches of snow.
I saw one guy on Facebook, and some of these guys on Facebook, you don't know how reputable they are, but this was the most exact number that I heard, and I'm not sure where he pulled this number out of, but he said it was exactly 22 miles too far west. I don't know. So I guess that's about right. Where he got the exactly 22 miles from, I don't know, but
I imagine he just measured it. And
maybe.
Just said, hey, there's a big swath of snow here.
Yeah.
Let's move it east about 22 miles.
Yeah. So whatever. I know some areas, Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, Binghamton, New York, who actually for the past couple of years, ironically, have been ripped off from a lot of snow.
They got their share.
They finally got their share. I think it was one of the biggest one-day snowfalls in Binghamton. I think they had 31 inches, I believe.
Yeah, I saw 30, but
30,
it might have been 31.
Okay.
Somewhere in that ballpark.
And the snow didn't want to end for that area up there because as the storm was wrapping up and pulling away, there was kind of a band I was watching it on radar that was just kind of sitting up there over Binghamton. So
yeah, so the areas that were denied snow, I think, got their fair share of snow in the system.
So it was an interesting storm nonetheless. I would have liked maybe a little more snow, a little less sleet. Our forecasts weren't too far off. We kind of got messed up a little bit by the sleet. Our meteorologist friends down in the Philadelphia area, they kind of were taking a little bit of heat last week because their forecast busted worse.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot more sleet down there and some even plain rain.
Yeah.
So,
further south, Philadelphia, I think they only had 6 inches at most down there.
At most, yeah. I mean, I have a friend in Tabernacle, New Jersey, if you know where that is. That's halfway between Philly and Atlantic City, and they were forecasting. He was hoping for at least 5-6 inches, and he barely got a few inches. So, well, such is life trying to track these type things.
Yeah, and I do think we would have been closer had there not been the sleet, but overall, I think we didn't do that bad.
It wasn't bad. No, I had done a general 10 to 20 with possibility to go over. 16 inches is 10 to 20.
I originally went 16 to 18, then I upped it to 18 to 20.
And it probably would have been closer to that had it not been for the sleet. So.
And if the storm was going the correct way.
Right. So,
but overall, I don't think we did that bad.
No, there's been worse. I'll admit that I probably busted much worse last year when I was forecasting 15 inches and we got 30. So.
Oh yeah.
And you busted with that one too. So.
Yeah, I've only went 20,
I think so.
22, somewhere around there.
Yeah. So, whatever. It was not one of our best, but not one of our worst. So
Yeah.
we'll chalk it up to education there.
Compared to other meteorologists, I don't think we did that bad.
No, we were pretty good. So pat ourselves on the back for that. The rest of last week was, typical post-snowstorm weather, kind of windy, kind of cold, wintry feeling, not feeling like the final days of winter and early part of spring coming up, but it was what it was. We did lose a lot of snow this past weekend because yesterday got nice and mild. We were up in the upper 40s, some areas even low 50s, so I saw that snowpack going down quite a bit.
Yes.
And continues to do so.
And yes, and today we're going to have a lot in the way of sunshine, and temperatures are going to be getting close to 50.
Okay. The good news first of all, happy spring, because
the vernal equinox came at 6:29 a.m. this morning.
Okay, so it's been meteorological spring for a little while, as we've educated people on in the past. That starts March 1st, but this particular, the spring that everybody talks about has begun today. So happy spring, everybody!
Yeah, the sun's rays are striking the equator.
Yes. So pretty much your daylight the amount of daylight and the amount of I was going to say nightlight. Nighttime is equal.
Yeah, that's where the term equinox comes from, equal night.
Okay, so our days are getting longer, so that's a good thing. So we're making progress. So I guess the only thing that people are now asking, Monsoon Mike and Dr. Davis, is when are we finally going to get some spring temperatures? And it's not too bad today, not too bad tomorrow, but Wednesday we're going to get socked back down into winter for a little bit.
Yeah, the Weather Service and some of the models are showing a pretty strong Canadian high coming down, about 1040 millibars, which is
pretty chilly.
That's pretty strong for high pressure too, but then
Right.
that's going to have a lot of cold air coming down with it from Canada.
Okay, so first things first, we have a weak storm moving through tonight, which could drop some showers during the overnight hours, but the models I were looking at, and I think you said the same thing on your morning write-up, not looking too impressive.
No, not at this point.
Under a tenth of an inch, I would think at this point.
Yeah, not much.
Yeah.
Might get a sprinkle or so, but nothing substantial.
And it is all going to be all liquid, fortunately. So
yes, it will be liquid.
No concerns about icing. That's good, unless you're way, 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 way far north. But we'll be in the upper 30s tonight, so we should be okay. Tomorrow, Tuesday, could be a little cloudy in the morning. We should see some thinning of the clouds in the afternoon. I don't think it clears up to a beautiful, bright, sunny day as it is today, but it should be brightening as the day goes on.
And temperatures will be climbing. Should be in about low mid 50s or so tomorrow.
But then we have a cold front come through.
Yes.
And we're back to this.
We're back to some fresh cold air for Wednesday. I believe we're only looking at
30s.
About freezing.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, low to mid 30s is what I saw. So, and the winds will be pumping a little bit too. Not too crazy, but enough to put our wind chills probably in the upper 20s type range.
But the front's going to be dry though with the passage.
Yes.
So there's not going to be any type of precip.
Nothing to worry about that as well either. So, so fairly quiet next couple of days, if you don't mind it being a little up and down temperature wise. And then the rest of the week after that, we slowly start to rebound, and by Saturday we could be up in the 60s. I see.
Yeah, we might hit 60 by the weekend.
Okay.
Although we might have a chance of some showers by Saturday evening or so.
Yeah,
but that's still way out.
Yeah, so we got some time to worry about that. But for the most part, after some very active weeks, it's nice to have a week where it's a little more tame.
Yeah, a little bit more benign, I would call it, but not. There's stuff happening, but nothing to the extent of what was happening last week.
Now you watch in 3 or 4 months when we have 4 weeks of sunny, dry weather. You and I are going to be dying for a storm. So,
yeah,
but we're saying that for now because it's nice. It's nice for now, but we'll see. All right, so there you have it, folks. A fairly easy forecast after some fairly uneasy times the past couple of weeks with some active weather. How unusual is it to have a late season snowstorm like that? Is that unusual or is that fairly common?
The timing of this storm was something of a bit of an outlier, I'm going to call it, because typically these classic nor'easters don't really produce that much in the way of snow in terms of it happening in March.
Right.
This March storm that occurred was pretty much an anomaly, although some people are comparing it to pretty much a maybe an indicator of climate change actually occurring because last week was also the forecast for the start of the cherry blossoms down in D.C., and they were digging out from 6 inches or so snow.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we had March is a tumultuous month, so it's I guess we couldn't have been too surprised. But yeah, it's still a little bit of an outlier type storm.
And with climate change, you're going to have these more infrequent events,
Right.
where they'll be fewer and farther between, but they'll be more intense.
Right.
So we
That's
may
what I'm
not
noticing.
necessarily get a lot in the way of snowfall over the course of, say, the entire winter, but one day, 2 days, 3 days out of the whole winter, we're going to get socked with like
Something bigger.
20, 30 inches of snow.
Now, you and I always like to have fun. Like 6 months ago when we were in the fall and we got to we had an 80-degree day or whatever, and then you and I had fun and saying, Dr. Davis, are you ready to say that this was the last real, so I'm going to do it again for this, just for fun. Do you think we've seen the last of wintry precipitation, or is this year screwy enough that we could still have some more wintry precipitation in there somewhere?
Is there going to be a big snowstorm? No.
Right.
Is there going to be a chance of some snow before it's all said and done? I think so.
Me too.
I think we're going to have something. I was willing to write off winter after we weren't getting any big snowstorms,
Right.
and then we got this big one. So I guess the yoke was on me in that case.
Yeah.
But,
There you go.
but I feel more confident about this one than I did with the previous one.
I was joking with one of my friends, and we've had some. If you celebrate Easter, a lot of people celebrate the Easter holiday. I was joking that it's Easter is one of those holidays that the date varies, and it can be as early as like around now to as late as end of April, depending on how the calendar falls. So I said, you're pretty happy that Easter is late this year, or the Easter Bunny would have been borrowing Santa's sled.
It would have been one of the snow hares, right?
Right, yeah. So it's good timing that Easter's not till, I think it's April 15th, somewhere around there. So hopefully by April 15th, we're done with things by then.
I would hope so.
Yeah. Although I've seen some weird stuff happen after April 15th.
Although the Climate Prediction Center, and I think you posted it on your Facebook page, looked like they were going pretty warm for the next month,
Yeah.
if not for the next 3 months.
Yeah, it looks like after this week or so, we finally get into more of a spring-like pattern. So I think we're making improvements. Let's just put it there. Okay.
Yes.
All right, so we're about 12 minutes in. I want to talk a little bit about you. Switching up the topic a little bit, your students are getting ready for something interesting over the coming weeks.
Yes, in about 2 weeks, we're going to be going to the Association of American Geographers, the AAG annual meeting. It's in Boston this year.
Neat.
And
It's a cool city.
I've never been there, so
Okay.
we'll have to report back about what's going on there.
I've been near there several times, but never actually in the city.
Yeah. We've driven past it, my wife
Yeah.
and I, but we haven't gone into the
In
city.
the city. Okay, well, that's the same for me then. Yep.
And I have 7 students that are coming, 2 that are from other universities, or actually one that graduated this past fall, and then one that's doing correspondence with me in Rider University. And all of them are doing some type of climate-related poster, and they'll be presenting their research at this conference.
Nice.
And I'm hoping I can talk to one of them to come in and talk
Please.
about their research on one of our shows.
So how many students are you taking up there?
Currently, I have 5
5?
Kutztown students.
Okay. Very nice. Are you driving up there or flying, or what are you doing?
We are, myself personally, and one of my colleagues and 2 of my students are taking the Beaver bus
Oh, okay.
to New York City, and then we're taking
Another
Amtrak
bus.
from New York to Boston.
Wow. So
Some of them are driving, and then I think one's flying.
So it's sort of like that old 80s movie, if you remember Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. You guys are doing
Pretty
it all.
much, yeah.
All right. That sounds pretty fun. Well, hopefully there won't be any issues like in
Compared
that
to last year when it was in San Francisco, we kind of all had to fly for that one.
yeah. Well, you could have driven, but that would have taken you about 7 days. But
Yep.
all right. Well, that's definitely something interesting, and I hope you guys come back with some really great knowledge and give Kutztown a good name up there. I'm sure you will.
Oh, yes.
And when is this again?
It's going to be April 5th through the 10th. I believe.
Okay. So it's coming up. All right. Well, hopefully you have some nice weather when you're up there.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. No surprise late season anything like that. All right. Well, that's definitely good news. And your students continue to do a great job with doing the weather for KUR.
Yes, I've been listening to their forecasts, and they've been doing a good job.
I send you all of them, and most of them get used on the air, if not all of them. And I don't think anybody's recorded yet today. Let me look into the folder. Nope, nobody's been in yet today, but I'm sure somebody will be soon. Today or tomorrow. All right. So, Dr. Michael Davis, Monsoon Mike, did I cover everything? I think we covered
I think you
everything.
did.
All right. So we'll see you again next week.
Sounds good.
See you then.